Hi everyone, Casey Mullaney here from CaseyMullaney.com, and I'm so excited to be on here today. It's been, in case you haven't been seeing all the cute puppy photos I've been posting, it's been about 2 weeks since I've been able to do a live or do any kind of video, and part of the reason is because when you have a new puppy, it's kind of like having a newborn, so you're not getting much sleep, and then I also got really sick on top of it. so I didn't have enough of a voice, or at least not one that you wanted to hear, I promise. So anyway, so I actually have tons of things that I wanted to talk about today. But this particular topic was at the forefront of my mind because in case you don't know, I am like a huge fan of The Bachelor. I don't watch much TV at all, but the TV that we do watch includes like every Bachelor show, like The Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, all that fun stuff. And just for a little bit of background behind that, not only is that just like my fun thing that I really enjoy, but it actually was something that I used to actually make fun of. I was like, this is a terrible idea. But actually, I love it. I absolutely love it. And what I also love about it is not only watching the show, but I also love seeing all these amazing places that they go. It's actually how I've ended up taking a lot of different trips and decided on different vacations and all that fun stuff. But the main purpose of this video today is to discuss something that's kind of blowing up all over social media and just everywhere in general, I guess, especially if you follow, most pop culture, I suppose. But anyway, so in case you're not familiar with the show and you don't know what happened, at the end of the show, like the finale for like The Bachelor and Bachelorette typically ends in a proposal. They pick between the last two, either women or men that are there, depending on, who's on the show. And, and then they get engaged, and then they go on to basically have to live separately and just do these little meetups until the show's over, and then they can be announced officially as a couple. So, if you haven't been watching this particular show, Arie is the current Bachelor, and he was incredibly torn between two women. He had genuine feelings for both women, but he picked one, and then in picking one, realized that he made the wrong decision for himself. So what this has caused is an intense amount of controversy. I mean, there has been some of the nastiest things I've ever heard about anyone on any of these shows has just been aired against him. And in a way, it's very sad to me. I want to say that first. I think it's very sad that the amount of judgment that is coming up from this, because as you can imagine, this wouldn't necessarily be an easy decision to make, especially since it's not a popular decision. But what I really want to focus on out of this decision and how this applies to you is when Arie realized that he made the wrong decision, when he realized that he didn't go in the right direction. And now, in case, again, you didn't watch the show, it was easy for me to pick up on, and partially because I do have a lot of experience with this, with working with people, working with clients, having a bit of a psych background, things like that. Like I can pick up people, like certain things you can tell that they're mulling over. You can just read them a little bit better. And one of the things that I did see was the girl that he ended up picking was his family's choice for him. And you could see in the moment when they gave that choice, you could see it on his face that it wasn't exactly the right decision. Like that wasn't where his heart was really leading him. And this can apply to so many things in our life. That's actually, I can do a whole other video on how I make tough decisions. And one of those is when you hear something like that, like you know your immediate reaction, your immediate what you really want pops up in your mind, and you could actually see that watching. You could see it, he was hoping for a different answer. So anyways, again, like I said, he ended up getting engaged to the one girl and then realized he made a mistake. So the huge controversy at the moment is that he broke up with this girl, that he broke up with this girl and went after the other girl that he realized he was in love with. This has happened one other time with one of the original couples that have from like way back. I don't want to pretend like it's older than it is, but it is, a while ago. There was a contestant named Jason Mesnick. He did a similar thing, and there was a lot of backlash from that as well. Now, this was before I really watched the show, so I only had vague memories of stuff of that being in the news, but now they've gone on to be one of the happiest, most successful couples, and she was technically the runner-up of the show. And I could foresee that with this situation as well, because there's been that time for reflection, and then he decided to go after what he really wanted. So I know I'm trying to explain just enough so that if you have not watched, that you do understand what's going on. But the big controversy is that he broke this girl's heart. Well, technically, he broke several other people's hearts too, because it's just the nature of the show. But what I find so amazing about this, and what I hope people actually do take away from this and hope to apply to their lives, is he realized he made a mistake, and he realized this wasn't the right path for him. So rather than taking the easy route, because this is not an easy route, rather than taking the easy route and basically saying, you know what, I made this decision, I'm going to commit to it, I'm going to see how it goes, he knew in his soul that that was not the path for him. And so he made the hard decision early. He made the harder decision earlier on and said, look, I want to go where my heart's leading me. So how this applies to your life, because obviously we have lots of things in our lives where we feel called to go, or things that we want to do, but we know we're also potentially leaving for some disappointment, or some people in our lives that are not going to be maybe as thrilled over these decisions that we might be making, or these changes we might be making. So you can end up having a little bit of a mini version of this controversy in your life sometimes with things that you feel called towards. But to me, what the point out of this entire thing is that he went with where he felt called, even though it was not a popular decision, even though the backlash has just been horrendous. Women who used to care for him are being just ridiculously nasty about the whole thing. I mean, this is not their, I totally understand that they care about the women that were, part of the process with them, but at the end of the day, this is about him and his happiness and who he genuinely wants to marry, which is a very big commitment. So I really think in your life, if you're facing some kind of decision, if there's something that's coming up for you that you feel like it's just going to ripple the waters too much, if you feel like it's just going to be too big of a deal to actually commit and make the decision, I want you to reflect on this situation, because what he did was such an unpopular decision, but at the same time, it's what's leading him to a greater happiness in his life. It's potentially leading him to his wife. It's potentially leading to him to a whole other life that he would never have lived if he'd continued on with the easy decision. So in your life, if you're struggling, like say you feel really stuck in a career, and this is something I heavily relate to because that is a place I have been, where you feel really stuck, but you just can't see a way forward. You don't see the next way out. Like people are telling you that it's crazy for you to just change what you're doing. You're already so far into this, blah, 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 a million other excuses. Like that can be a pretty hefty thing to tell people, that you're deciding to make a transition into something new in your life to bring more joy into your life. It also can be really scary because, again, like just like with this situation, like he doesn't know if this is going to work out between him and Lauren, the runner-up. But on the other hand, he had to decide to take the risk and decide to take the chance. Well, it's the same thing with your life. When you feel really called to something, it really is about taking that first step without being able to see the entire rest of the staircase, which is one of my favorite quotes from Martin Luther King. If you can actually take that first step, if you can take that situation and you can see, okay, I have no idea what's coming over here, but I know that I feel so strongly guided to this. I know in my heart that I will feel like I missed out on something if I don't at least try to go for this. That's when you know that you need to take a step forward. And this doesn't mean, like with the career example, it doesn't mean that you have to immediately quit your job and move on to the next thing. It just means figuring out your next step and taking that next step before you get too complacent to do so. When you know that you're doing something that's not right for you, and you know there's something more in your soul, whether that's the relationship you're in, the job that you have, just the life that you're leading in general. I know for me, even moving to where I live now, in case you don't know, I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky. It was not a popular decision with my family, or a lot of people around me, for me to just pick up and leave. But it was where I was being guided, and it's so much better for me as a person, and me with my soul, to live in an area that's better suited to me, that brings me more joy, that allows me to be lighter and more fulfilled on a daily basis. And it has nothing to do with the other people in my life. It had nothing to do with a lack of love for them or anything else. This has to do with what was best for me and my path. And that's really what today I'm asking you to do, is to look and see, where do you feel stuck in your life? Where do you feel like something's wrong? And what do you feel guided towards? If you're feeling guided towards something else, even if it's a hard decision, even if it's going to cause some kind of controversy in your life with the people around you, is it worth it? Is it worth it to take that first step to potentially have a more joyful, more fulfilled life? One conversation I was actually having earlier with somebody, again, in case you don't know, I do have all that background with geriatric population. One of the things I see so often is I see people, they're just like rushing to a finish in their life, and they're just go, 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 and then all of a sudden something happens, their body's crapping out on them, things are not working anymore, and they're just filled with all this, I never took my shot to do whatever it was that I wanted to do. Whether that was, find the family of their dreams, or, moved where they want to live, or create a business, or do whatever, find a new career, anything. At some point that shot's no longer going to be there. And when we feel it in our soul that it's time to move, it's because it's time to move. It's not because God's sitting here going, I'm going to taunt you with stuff that you might want. It's because it's meant for you and it's time to move. It's at least moving you into another direction. I know for me, if you looked at my path, my business path, it looks very chaotic in a way. It's definitely not something that, it actually, honest to God, there was one time where I really was people are going to think I'm such a flake, and this is not, this is not what I'm trying to give off, but each piece was so beautifully choreographed to get me to the next piece. And if I hadn't had the experience here, I wouldn't have met the people here, I wouldn't have done this, and it wouldn't have got me to where I am today. And in the process, I had to, learn how to let things go and really get into more of a flow where I felt guided and all these other wonderful things. But it was moving forward with what I felt guided with in my soul at that time. And whenever I do that, whenever I take those steps out, it always leads to incredible, amazing things. It's led to, me living in a place that I love, having a husband I absolutely adore, my amazing little puppy I just got, vacations I've gone on, money that's come into my life, so many things, so many things. And it's all about listening to that inside of you and having the courage to move forward with it, even when it's not always easy, and even when it might cause a little bit of distress to the people around us. So anyways, I hope you're having an awesome day. I hope this has been helpful for you, and I look forward to seeing y'all soon. Bye.